Hey, it's Ryan, the Garage Condo Guy, and today I wanted to talk about what is a garage condo. Sometimes people refer to it as luxury storage, and I wanted to just make a longer content video, maybe 5 to 7 minutes of what it is, and then what it's not, what are the best uses, what is not. So let's get started with what a garage condo is. So the spirit of these communities is typically going to be storage. So storage, collector cars, small business storage, right? RV, boats, toys. I mean, really anything that you can imagine. I've had, attorneys that store files. The spirit is storage. So that's what these are. What these are not, it's going to be for retail businesses. So that's going to be more of your traditional, commercial condo, industrial condo. There's small differences and intricacies, but it could make a big difference because if you're buying one of these thinking you can have people coming in and out and operating a business, then unfortunately, that's probably not going to work out for you. One of the ways you can tell if it's these kind of commercial condos and whether they're maybe garage condos used for storage or they're an industrial or commercial condo, one of the first ways is there's going to be a gate. So if there is a gate, it's probably storage. If there's not a gate, it could be retail business and more of a kind of a commercial condo. Another thing is tenant signage. So if you see the names of the businesses, that's going to be an indication of, those are probably true commercial or industrial condos. Whereas if you don't see any signage, that's probably going to be a garage condo type of deal. With all these, and there's a 14-foot door. It's behind the camera, so you can't see it. The reason why they have a 14-foot height a door is because I think DOT, the Department of Transportation, typically, I think for vehicles is about 13.6, 13.7. So, 14 will be plenty. Sometimes they're 10 feet wide, 12 feet wide, 14, 16. I've even seen oversized doors of like 17 and a half feet wide. A really great thing about that is if you have a unit that's maybe 20 feet wide and the door is 17 of it, plus there's a little man door, backing in your vehicles, especially those bigger RVs, Class A buses, big trailers, goosenecks, things like that, those are going to be a cinch and way easier than like maybe a 10-foot door or even a 12-foot door where you're going to have, minimal, you're going to be able to make less mistakes, and you're going to have to do it almost perfectly straight. So most of these do have an owner's association. So whether it's an HOA, it's more of an OA, just an owner's association because there's no house. You can't live in these. Typically, those can range anywhere from maybe $75 up to $200, just kind of depending on where it is. If sometimes they're in more rural areas, it'll be on the cheaper end, or if it's an older community, it'll be on that 75 to 100 end. If it's in a prime location, if it's in a city, if it's in a municipality, more of a dense area, great location, those will probably be, more of that 150 to 200. Typically what these HOAs or OAs cover is going to be like general insurance for, the outside of the building, any asphalt issues, patching, things like that, snow removal, trash. Most of these communities have clubhouses. So any of the amenities that come with that, like Wi-Fi, the bathrooms, sometimes there's showers, kind of things like that are what's covered. All of these garage condos or commercial condos, they're going to have HOAs. A lot of businesses don't like those, or people don't like them, because they're like, hey, I own this place. No one can tell me what to do, or I don't want someone to tell me what to do. But the reality is that's why you're paying 200 to 400K versus like $1 million for a standalone building. So if you do want that, you can get that with a standalone building and have less regulation. But a lot of the times, again, if the spirit of the community is storage and that's what you're doing, you're probably not going to run into any issues. Sometimes the HOAs have restrictions on how much office you can build out. Typically, a mezzanine is totally fine. You just can't have more than 50% of the floor space as a mezzanine. You also want to run sprinklers under there. You don't want the fire to be able to hide anywhere. That would be an issue with the fire department. I've had a community where someone wanted to store some cars, but then they also wanted to build out a couple offices. Again, you got to look in the bylaws and the CC&Rs of the community, because those are kind of what governs everything. And a lot of times it's going to be a 10% rule. So you can build out about 10%. And so let's say if a lot of these units are, 1,000 square feet, and there's bigger ones and there's smaller ones, but just a quintessential 50 deep by 20 wide, 10%, it would be about a 10 by 10 office. So just something to consider. So it may be right for a small business, maybe not, looking to kind of do some admin work or things like that. Because they're so small intricacies. So as far as a small business, so for small businesses, the ones that do work here are the ones that don't have clients coming. So a mobile dog grooming, any mobile business where, they don't have to winterize their vehicle. They can pull the van right in here. They can set the thermostat at 40 and everything's awesome. It's super, super easy. Imagining getting all that efficiency back of like not having to winterize your van every single day. So if you have a storage tank of water, whatever it may be, you don't want it to freeze, doing that every single day and trying to operate out of your house or your driveway, it's just such a pain in the butt. And this is going to be able to create a lot of efficiencies for you as a business owner. Maybe you're able to make 5 to 10 more appointments per month, and that can easily make up for the mortgage or the rent, whatever you depend on, whatever you decide to do. Another businesses that work is like hardwood flooring. And the reason why is because they're just storing materials here. As you can see, the clear height, these are 16-foot clear. So if you can use that height and go vertical with some like industrial racking or something, that's going to be awesome. And it's going to help you make the most of the space. Another, kind of switching back over to the personal owner, if you want to have like a 4-post lift or a 2-post lift because you're going to be taking off the wheels and tires and working on your vehicle, the 16-foot clear height works really well too, because you can easily have a 4-post lift with a car on top and a car on the bottom. So anytime you can go vertical, you're going to be able to store, more of your toys in the unit. So for back to small businesses, so the ones that are going to work is going to be, again, ones that don't have clients coming in and out. So ones that will not work is like tint, auto body, everyday, auto repair, again, because those you have to have clients coming in and out. So then, it negates the security at the front with the gate, and other people don't want that because they might have a nice car collection or something, and they just don't want random people kind of coming into the complex. Let me see. When we talk about kind of common upgrades, a lot of times you see this one has the epoxy floor. So that's going to be really great, easy for cleanup. If you are doing kind of hobby work in here, spill some oil, something like that, not a big deal. It also looks pretty cool. And then this unit actually has upgraded insulation. So it actually has double the insulation that it normally does. And that's going to keep utilities down. That's really good for someone who's going to be in the unit a lot. So if you are using it as a hobby use or kind of a man cave and just kind of hanging out, that would be great. If you're using it just for storage, a lot of times that's probably not needed. So, but I wanted to make a longer form. My name is Ryan, the Garage Condo Guy. I'm one of the only brokers that focuses on these in Colorado.